Morning, it's Wednesday the 6th of August 2025. I see. Beautiful morning this morning. Today I'm going to talk about a couple of women. The first one being Sarah Poachin, Reform MP, Sarah for Runcorn. She was on some TV station, KGB News yesterday. And she wanted Parliament's in recess at the moment. She wanted them to reconvene and discuss immigration. And I thought, as if they're going to fucking reconvene for a party of 4 MPs who don't even attend Parliament when it's fucking open. She's off her head. The other lady, Mhari Black, I don't know if you can remember her. She's a former SNP MP for Paisley and Renfrewshire. And when she became MP there, she was 20 years and 7 months old. Back in 2015, and she was MP continuously till 2024 when she stepped down. And she stepped down as an MP and she said that her reasons were Westminster were like one of the unhealthiest places you could ever you could ever work in, and it was a fucking toxic environment. That's when Tories were in power, and I believe she was right. But back in May 2022, 3 years ago no less, she made this incredible speech to an almost empty house. I played you this before, but I want you to listen to every fucking word she says.
Mhari Black. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Now, for a party that prides itself on the economy, the Tories have a shocking record of running it. Yeah. Our economy has the slowest growth in the G7. We have got greater regional inequality than almost any other developed nation. Food banks now do the job of government in providing for families that are more often than not in work. Government could start solving this crisis by providing solutions like closing tax avoidance loopholes or creating a windfall tax for energy companies. But instead, we get endless bills paying lip service to a manufactured culture war. The priority isn't the economy, it seems to be things like protecting freedom of speech, and yet the Tories are the ones that have banned schools in England from using sources that are not overtly pro-capitalist. Yeah. They're cracking down on freedom of assembly and protest. They're privatising Channel 4 when the Culture Secretary didn't even know that Channel 4 receives no public money. So the argument isn't financial. And as the member for Rhondda touched upon earlier on, when we consider that the Culture Secretary was a key focus of a Channel 4 documentary once about the influence that Christian fundamentalism has over UK politics, it becomes even more concerning that this decision is political and it's personal, it is not professional. But most terrifying of all, Madam Deputy, is that this government literally want to get rid of the Human Rights Act. And that begs the question, for who do they think rights have gone too far? Do you know how scary it is to sit at home and wonder if it's you? Is it your rights that are up for grabs? We've witnessed Windrush. Our economic strategy is to open our doors to the rest of the world when we need their hard work and then chuck them out 50 years later without a word's notice. We tell our own citizens that their safety can't be guaranteed in Rwanda, but we're perfectly happy to ship asylum seekers, people fleeing war and persecution, over to Rwanda as though they're cattle to be dealt with by someone else. And despite knowing that this plan costs more than it'll ever save, this is just little England elites drunk on the memory of a British Empire that no longer exists. Yeah. We have the lowest pensions in Europe, the lowest sick pay. We pretend minimum wage is a living wage when it's not. We miss our own economic targets time and time again. We're happy to break international law. We are turning into a country where words hold no value. And over the last 12 years, I fear we are sleepwalking closer and closer to the F word. And I know everyone is scared to say it for fear of sounding over the top or being accused of going too far. But I say this with all sincerity. When I say the F word, I'm talking about fascism. Fascism wrapped in red, white and blue. And you may mock, and you may disagree, but fascism does not come in with intentional evil plans or the introduction of leather jackboots. It doesn't happen like that. It happens subtly. It happens when we see no, I've heard enough. It happens when we see that governments making decisions based on self-preservation, based on cronyism, based on anything that will keep them in power. We see the concentration of power whilst avoiding any of the scrutiny or responsibility that comes with that power. It arrives under the guise of respectability and pride that will then be refused to anyone who is deemed different. It arrives through the othering of people, the normalisation of human cruelty. Now, I don't know how far down that road we are, Madam Deputy Speaker. Time will tell. But the things we do in the name of economic growth, the warning signs are there for everyone else to see, whether they admit it or not.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Food banks now do the job of the government, providing food for families. Families that are, more often than not, in work. The government could solve this crisis by closing tax-avoiding loopholes. They're also cracking down on freedom of speech, and they're cracking down on protest. Don't forget, this is 3 years ago. Look how we're going. The most terrifying of all, the government and now Reform want to get rid of the Human Rights Act. And that begs the question, for who do they think the rights have gone too far? Is it us? They tell us that we are not safe to go to Rwanda, but are happy to ship asylum seekers to Rwanda. This is Little England, the Little England elites drunk on the memory of a British Empire that no longer exists. We have the lowest pensions in Europe and the lowest sick pay. We pretend that the minimum wage is a living wage, even though it's fucking not. Don't fog glasses. We're going so well. I fear we are sleepwalking closer and closer to the F word. The F being fascist. She didn't say that, I've said that. Fascism, wrapped in red, white and blue. How right was she back then? It arrives under the guise of respectability and pride. It arrives through the othering of people, the normalisation of human cruelty. Now, I don't know how far down the road we are. Time will tell. But the warning signs are there for everyone to see, whether we like it or not. Roll the clock forward three years, and here we are. We've got 4 fascists in Parliament. Got Farage, Tice, Anderson and Poaching. Make no bones about it, they're fascists. Could you imagine any of them 4 standing up making a speech like that? Could you imagine them standing up for people on minimum wage, on pensions, on sick pay, and talking about closing tax loopholes? No, and neither could I. Instead, what they do, they spread divisive hatred, talk about racism. They pick on asylum seekers, the sick, the disabled, the unemployed. And I'll tell you why they do that, shall I? Because, and I keep telling you, they're on the side of the millionaires. Nothing fucking else. I'm going to a music festival now. I'll not be about today to answer any questions, answer any comments. We'll try and get some on Thursday and Friday if I get time. If not, have a fantastic weekend, and I'll be here next Monday, if not before. And more importantly, wakey, everybody. Fascism is on the rise. Don't let the bastards in. Get them out.